Okay. So I don't want to fuck it up, you know what I mean? Because to this point, my twist and everything is great, so the performance is going really well. And right as I'm about to put it in, I'm trying to think of a voice that'll work, and the first thing that comes to my mind is Antonio Banderas, right? Because Antonio Banderas is sexy, is he not? Okay? But the only movie that I can come up with is this one. You eating waffles? I'm eating waffles. Right? That's just not going to do anything for my wife, right? You know what I'm saying? So I say, okay, fuck, I got to come up with something different. So I'm like, I look closely into her eyes like this, and I give her that little breathing that I do, and then I come up with this voice. Humpy white weird. Thank you, and apparently she was not impressed. She's like, fucking get off of me, fool! So, I'm like, okay, so I start going, I finally got it in now, and I'm doing that little motion you do when you only have a 4-inch penis, you know what I'm saying? 2 inches out, 2 inches in, 2 inches out. You know what the fuck, it gets a little redundant, but hey, you do what you got, you know what I mean? So anyways, I'm in there, and she's like, honey, for real this time, talk to me in one of those voices. And I'm like, okay, fuck, I'm ready this time. So I just look at her, I grab her by the back of the hair, and I give her that 4-inch thrust that you read about. And I'm like, Brandy, shush. Hey, that's my sister, I love you. So anyway, I give her one of those 4-inch thrusts that you read about. And I'm like, shh, be very, very quiet. We're having sex. And, you know, you would think that she'd be all over my shit after something like that, but she wasn't. So I was like, you know what, sweetie, I figure I was going to be a little proactive about it. I'm like, I've been thinking maybe we should spice up the bedroom. And she's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, let me break it down for you. I think we should bring another woman into the bedroom. But it shouldn't be anybody that we know, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't need any weirdness. And she's like, well, ask me in one of your voices. And I'm like, okay. Autumn, I think we should bring Jenny into the bedroom. Her pussy's like a box of chocolate in that it's runny. I know that was fucking terrible. Sorry about that. I know I made that last part up as I was going. Sorry. Oh, it's fucked up. I know. So anyway, we're still having sex, which is a fucking miracle that I could even go past 3.5 minutes. That's the unlikely part of the story. And she's like, well, okay, look, slow it down, Tiger. I don't want you to bust a nut too quick. So I back out of her, all 4 inches, which is really just a move like this. And I'm leaning over her, and she's like, you know what? I just want you to give it to me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give it to you, and I'm gonna give you one of my voices too. So I went, Otto, I want to play a game. Before you was a penis. For far too long you've ignored it. Taking care of yourself through the help of electronic devices. So fucked up. I don't know where I'm going with that. It's pretty good. And so anyway, she gives me a little bit, and we're going for a little while. But I know I'm gonna nut, and you know what we do, man. We pull out, because if you think of somebody fat or some nasty woman or something from your past, you probably already had sex with her anyway, and you finish that time, it didn't work then. So if you're like me, you just try to think, you occupy your mind, right? Come up with something else. I think of my roommate Cheese over here, and that is a terrible Puerto Rican blood sausage right there. That is just absolutely fucking horrible. So, anyways, I want to have sex, but I think that because maybe she's starting to cool down a bit, she's like, well, why would I want to do it again? You know, it wasn't that eventful. So what I do is I line that sucker up right there with the hole. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give her the best voice she's ever heard. And she's like, are you ready to do it? And I'm like, I'm going to kill it. And she's like, are you going to kill it? And I'm like, I'm going to fucking murder it. I'm like fucking the Wayne Gacy of pussy. I'm going to fucking murder that shit. She's like, kill it like Jeffrey Dahmer. I'm like, I will. And I'll eat it like Jeffrey. I'm getting a little... I might be drunk. I don't even know. That's so fucked up. You guys didn't even know how much I just ad-libbed. Sorry about the Jeffrey Dahmer part. So anyway, I'm back lined up. And she's like, are you going to give it to me? And I'm like, yes, I am. And she's like, well, before you do, just tell me in one last voice. And I said, okay, say hello to my little friend. You want to go to war? We take it to war. Yeah, she laughed and kicked me out of the bedroom.